You ready? Let's go. 2-minute daily devo for Tuesday, November 29th. I'm in the New Century Version today, and our verse of the day comes from the book of Matthew, chapter 6. Little context here, in Matthew 5 and 6, Jesus is giving his Sermon on the Mount. And in Matthew chapter 6, at verse 1, he starts talking about giving. And he starts talking about reaching out to those that are in need, giving to those that are poor and that are in need of some help. And he says here in verse 1, be careful when you do good things. Don't do them in front of people to be seen by them. He's talking about the Pharisees, and he goes on to get a little more specific, and he says in verse 2, when you give to the poor, don't be like the hypocrites. They blow trumpets in the synagogues and on the streets so that people will see them and honor them. And he says if you do that, that's your full reward. Jesus is talking about how the Pharisees would go out on the streets and they would pray at the top of their lungs and so that everyone could see how quote unquote holy they were. And as he's talking here, they would give but make a big deal about it so everyone would say, oh, look how much they're giving. Look how amazing they are to help these people in need. And Jesus says here, if you do that, if we do that, that's our only reward, is men's praise. That's all we're going to get, is people thinking that we are good people. When in reality, the intent of our heart is something totally different. We're looking to get their praise. Verse 3, he says this, our verse of the day. So when you give to the poor, don't let anyone know what you're doing. Your giving should be done in secret. Your Father can see what's done in secret, and he will reward you. You see, that's the key. What is the intent of our heart when it comes to giving? Are we giving because we know that God tells us to, because we want to be obedient, we want to do and act like Jesus did and reach out to those in need? Or are we trying to get the praise from people around us? Because here's the thing, Jesus says it very clearly. If that's your intent, if that's my intent, is to get the praise from other people, then that's all we're going to get. But again, as I've said in many previous devos, God never asks us to do anything without attaching a promise. And the promise is attached here, and it says this, your Father will see what's done in secret, and he will reward you. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather have the rewards from God than a few kind words from men. That is what we want to do, and it all comes down, like I said, to the intent of our hearts. So I want to encourage you today. Let's give for sure, because that's what Jesus wants us to do, and that's what Jesus did. But let's give with the right purpose, and that is to be a blessing. Because if we do it for that reason alone, God's going to bless us anyway. All right, that's it, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.